they weren't supposed to survive. Subaru, once mocked for making ugly little cars that barely ran. At least twice in its history, the company came dangerously close to collapse. And yet somehow, this small, scrappy underdog not only survived, but built one of the most passionate fan bases in the entire auto industry. So how did Subaru, the company that should have collapsed, turn into a global cult brand? This is the untold story of Subaru, the car maker that defied the odds, reinvented itself in the face of failure, and leaned into its quirks when everyone else was chasing the mainstream. The story begins in 1953. Japan was rebuilding after World War II, and dozens of new automakers were emerging. Toyota and Honda were on their way to becoming giants. Subaru, on the other hand, didn't even start as a car company. They were an aircraft manufacturer called Nakajima Aircraft. After the war, Japan banned aviation production, so the company rebranded as Fuji Heavy Industries. In search of a new product, they turned to cars. Their first creation was the Subaru 360. Launched in 1958, it was tiny, round, and severely underpowered. With just 25 horsepower, it struggled to reach highway speeds. In Japan, it was a hit because it was cheap and fit government regulations for small, key cars. But in America, it was a disaster. The 360 was so poorly received that Consumer Reports labeled it not acceptable. The press mocked it as unsafe. Dealers struggled so badly that advertisement openly called it cheap and ugly but gets you there. That's not exactly the slogan of a future success story. By the late 1960s and 70s, Subaru was surviving with quirky little cars like the Leon. They were different, but not popular. Behind the scenes, the company was unstable. Competitors like Toyota and Nissan were scaling into global empires, while Subaru looked like it was on a path to becoming a forgotten footnote. And then came the 1980s, Subaru's first collapse. Sales in the United States were tanking. The cars had a reputation of being odd, underpowered, and poorly marketed. Subaru's US dealers were desperate. Some even begged Fuji Heavy Industries to sell the company to another automaker. That's how close Subaru was to disappearing. But instead of folding, Subaru gambled on a bold move. In 1972, Subaru had quietly introduced a version of the Leon with all-wheel drive. At the time, no one else was mass-producing passenger cars with that feature. And instead of treating it like a gimmick, Subaru doubled down. By the mid-80s, they were offering all-wheel drive across their lineup. And by the 90s, it became standard in almost every Subaru. This was revolutionary. Other automakers treated all-wheel drive as a luxury option, reserved for expensive sedans or specialty off-roaders. Subaru made it the core of their identity, and it worked. In snowy states like Vermont, Colorado, and Maine, Subaru became the go-to choice. Farmers, skiers, and mountain town residents needed cars that could survive brutal winters. Subaru was the only brand building exactly what they needed. That decision pulled the company back from the brink, but their biggest turning point was still to come. In the 1990s, Subaru transformed from ugly but practical into a global icon thanks to one unexpected arena: rally racing. The company entered the World Rally Championship, pitting their small, boxy cars against dirt, snow, and extreme terrain. The results were spectacular. The Subaru Impreza WRX with its turbo engine and unmistakable blue and gold paint became a legend. Behind the wheel was Colin McRae, one of the most exciting rally drivers in history. His fearless driving style made him a star, and his Subaru became a symbol of grit and speed. The brilliance of this move was that it wasn't about winning trophies. It tied perfectly into Subaru's identity. They weren't just saying their cars could handle tough conditions, they were proving it on a world stage. And it wasn't just motorsport fans who noticed. A generation of kids growing up playing Gran Turismo and Colin McRae rally video games were being introduced to Subaru. For many, the dream car wasn't a Ferrari or a Lamborghini, it was a Subaru WRX. The rally gamble gave Subaru global street cred, but even then, the company wasn't safe. By the mid-90s, Subaru was in trouble again. The US market was shifting towards larger SUVs, and Subaru was still selling small sedans and wagons. Sales were weak, and the company faced a second crisis. And once again, Subaru survived by doing something no one else dared. Their market research showed that Subaru appealed to very specific groups: teachers, healthcare workers, outdoor enthusiasts, IT professionals, and the LGBTQ community. Now in the 90s, most automakers would have ignored those insights or even erased them from their strategy. Subaru leaned in. They created ads that quietly spoke to these groups, including subtle coded messages that resonated with LGBTQ buyers at a time when almost no companies acknowledged them. It was risky. It could have backfired. Instead, it built lifelong loyalty. Subaru wasn't just another car brand, it became a community. The results speak for themselves. Today, Subaru dominates in snowy states. In Vermont, they often outsell every other brand combined. The WRX became a global phenomenon, and even used models hold value because of their cult following. And Subaru customers, they're some of the most loyal in the entire industry. Studies consistently show that once someone buys a Subaru, they're likely to stick with Subaru for life. Twice, Subaru came dangerously close to collapse. Twice, they made decisions that should have been too risky. And twice, those risks paid off. Here's the crazy part. Subaru still sells only a fraction of the cars that giants like Toyota and Ford do. But it doesn't matter. They don't try to sell to everyone. They focus on the right people, outdoorsy families, snow state residents, loyal enthusiasts, and communities who feel overlooked by other brands. Their ads don't talk about 0 to 60 times or flashy styling. They talk about love. Their slogan is simple: love. It's what makes a Subaru a Subaru. It sounds cheesy, but the incredible thing is, people believe it. So here's the story. Subaru should have died. First in the 80s when sales collapsed, then in the 90s when SUV crushed the small car market. But both times, instead of playing it safe, Subaru doubled down on being different. All-wheel drive for everyone, rally cars for the dreamers, inclusive marketing when no one else dared. And that's why Subaru isn't just surviving, it's thriving. Because sometimes being different isn't the only way to win. Be sure to like and subscribe.